How have you seen Kolkata's landscape changing over the years?
Well, like any landscape of any city, there is always a mixed bag. There are some wonderful projects, and there are some average projects, and there are some not so nice projects. But that's a truism for every city in the world, and so that is also true for Calcutta. But generally, I see that the new town area has been very well planned, and that is a very wonderful thing. I see that the parks and gardens are in a much better shape of maintenance. I see some important flyovers have made life a little simpler. And I also see that the metro connections, which is probably about 180 kilometers, once fully complete, will be a game changer in terms of energy efficient transportation, mass transportation.
What about this concept of having large open space within a mall, a concept which again you have brought in to the city?
That was Mr. Korea's idea that, we have a temperate climate. It's not very extreme in terms, it's not very hot, it's not very cold. So people would like to spend more time outdoors. And so he persuaded me to look at a mall which was more energy efficient, more open space, people to sit around, etc. Initially, I was a little skeptical because maybe it won't work. But he was very persuasive, and we agreed. And good we did, because I think it has set a new design language, I would say.
So you brought in Charles Korea here, then an Sri Lankan architect at Raichak. So what about bringing in architects from outside the country and then making it relevant for the Indians also?
Could be at some time. So our eco space was designed by a Singaporean architect. So we have worked with some international architects, but so far mostly Indian.
And what is your take on vertical expansion versus horizontal expansion?
I think in this context of high density construction, it is for certain type of buildings, particularly office buildings, residences, verticality is important because it gives you more light and ventilation in your apartments, and perhaps the quality of space becomes better.
Other than Kolkata, you have done a lot of projects in Siliguri also and some other places. So
Yes, of course. And
what is the experience of working in Kolkata? And
very similar. I think it's obviously the products have to be slightly different. That market is not so evolved as Calcutta. So we have also done a project in Patna recently, a project in Raipur. So we have to context it to that location. Certain things which are common, and there are certain things which are different.
in terms of architect also or architecture, it has to be different in different areas.
Not necessary, but somewhat, because of the climate change. So you have to be a little conscious of that.
Now, whenever you look at a project, you can make out which one has been built by the Neotias because of something from the exterior itself. Maybe a lot of use of bricks and all that. The red brick, you can make out this is like Neotia's project. So going forward, also will keep that trend going, or?
Well, I think if you see our buildings, they will be very distinct and quite separate. So I don't know how you are able to find that common link, but we will try to do good design. That's what I can say. We are working with different architects who have different expressions. We don't want one to look like another. We want them to be distinct, but we want them to be high quality. That's what we.
They are all signature projects kind of thing.
Well, we try to put in a high quality effort, and sometimes they work well, sometimes maybe they could be better.
So now that these, even investors like Blackstone, they have stepped into the city, people think that the realty space is really looking up, and many more things. Even there are the kind of talks going on that Blackstone might come in some of your projects as well in the city. So how do you look at these things, that big investments coming in from outside?
It's always positive and it's always welcome. I suppose the city will need these kind of marquee investors to come going forward. There's nothing to say other than to welcome them.
But Does it send a kind of positive signal that things are looking up for the city as well?
I've always believed in our city. I have therefore invested in our city. If others also find that resonating, that's wonderful.
আনন্দ আর ভালোবাসার দীপ্তিতে গড়া সমুজ্জ্বল পরমা, ঠিক তোমারই মতো। শ্যাম সুন্দর কোম্পানি জুয়েলার্স, আগরতলা, উদয়পুর, ধর্মনগর, কলকাতা।